memories. Support our fight to protect yours.
Hello there, I'm Jackie Stewart, and I started something called Memories. Memories that are not just mine, but memories from people who I've met over a great many years. And some of them are the greatest names the world has ever known in sport and business and lots of other ways. And tonight and today, I'm introducing a man that I believe has had more honours, more success than anyone else in the whole damn world. He's been a remarkable sportsman, a man of great style, and by Jove, he's with us. And he's with us tonight. Nobody better than Rod Laver as a tennis player ever. And you're in California, Rod.
I am, Sir Jackie. I'm here in California, but it's an honor to be sitting here beside you thinking, let's talk about what's happening in the world.
Well, I think we should drop the whole world and talk about the real times, and you were there in a big way. But you're one of the greatest tennis players that has ever lived. The only man to win 2 calendar years Grand Slams. That's never been done since you did them. And you know, your player at the time of the world in 1946 and 1964, rather, 1970, the golden era of Australian tennis. Well, I mean, there was 5 years there prior to the Open era where you competed professionally. And this meant that you missed 21 Grand Slams.
Yeah, I had to accept, you know, when I turned pro, I'm never going to see Wimbledon again, because well, the reason why I turned pro was certainly it was financial, you know, to get some money, but the real reason was with Gonzalez and Hode and Rosewall and Cooper, they were all professionals. I wanted to play against the best. I wanted to fit how well I would do against these people. And I think that was one of the reasons why I turned pro. But
well, what were you kind of making when you were, before the big money came or even the professional part came? What sort of money were you earning? You were having traveling a lot. I mean, even in Australia, it's such a big country to get around. So when you were winning good events in Australia or even abroad, what sort of money were you earning then?
You know, there was nothing in Australia. You know, we got $5 a day. You know, that was Davis Cup money. You know, where you'd be staying and working for 2 weeks in Davis Cup, and that would be what that's what you'd get from it. And so I ended up just having to just accept that, yeah, there was no money, and I turned professional. Not turned professional. I went on amateur tours, you know, through, you know, the French, Germany, all the small tournaments around. They were amateur tournaments, but I would get maybe $350, you know, each week that I played, and that kept me going. I could get airfares, I get accommodation, I had meals, so that's what kept myself alive, and I kept learning the game, yeah, because the competition was in Europe.
Well, I went to Wimbledon for the first time in 1968 in the Royal Box with His Royal Highness the Duke of. He, by the way, is a very hardcore motor racing man, the Duke of Kent.
Duke of Kent.
He used to come to races that I was involved in, and as a little gift, he offered me the opportunity of joining him in the Royal Box, sitting next to him, in fact, in 1968. And guess who won?
That was the first Open Wimbledon.
Yeah. So then you must have earned a penny or two at that time, and that out of that event, surely.
Yeah, no, I won, I think in 68, I think it was £2,000, which was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, damn right. but then you won again in '69, and I was there as well.
You were my good luck charm. Now, it was 69 is when I was able to win the Grand Slam.
You know, think back to those years. The weather swinging 60s and 70s. I mean, 1969, we're just talking about right now. I won my first world championship in 1969. And of course, you won your second calendar Grand Slam that very same year. And it was the year that a man went on to the moon. Your Grand Slam thing, I mean, you're the only man to have ever done the Grand Slam twice. That's something you must be proud of.
I certainly am very proud of it. You know, and the first Grand Slam was as an amateur, and the second one, of course, in '69 when it was open tennis. And I think that probably was the greatest feeling I had, was accomplishing that against all comers back in the years. And I think I look back at that was probably one of the highlights of my career, was to win all of them.
Terrific, absolutely amazing. I mean, the whole world was recognizing at that time. And of course, you've been so well recognized. You've got a lovely tennis facility in Melbourne that is your tennis facility. Yeah. Your name's above the door in a capital fashion. I mean, that itself is a wonderful thing. And your pal Roger Federer hasn't done badly for you either, has he?
Yeah, no, I think Roger and I, it's so nice that he gave me the time of day, and he followed my career in some areas. But to be able to, talk to him just like you and I right now, and to me, I think Roger is the #1 player in the world.
The Laver Cup is now one of the most important tennis events in the world. Isn't that something? I mean, how did that come about? And of course, to be recognized in a manner such as that must make you very proud. But Federer must have had a wee bit to do with that, didn't he?
Roger was, back, for some years, he was trying to put a competition together, with the Europe versus the rest of the world. And as it turned out, when he talked about it, he says, we'd like to use your name, as being the Laver Cup. And I think that, to me, that's another item that I think is the highlight of my whole career.
Well, I can't think of anybody that's had more career successes than you have. I really don't think there is anybody. I've looked through them all in preparation for this wee chat we're having, but it's quite a remarkable thing. But we all have our ups and downs, and you have faced some challenges personally over the years. A stroke, which I think for anybody else, I don't know if they would have ever recovered from it. I mean, that must have been the toughest thing you ever had. And Mary, of course, looked after you tremendously well. But I mean, you lost your memory completely, didn't you?
Yeah, most of it. But I don't know, Jackie. It was a hard time. It really was. And I think my wife, Mary, was adamant. You have to do certain things. This is discipline, and that was, I think, where she came in so strong with. Now you got to do this, go to this, and this, and so that was one of the jobs that I think I cherish when I look back at it, because that was how she got me out of a lot of the things that were just a muddle in my brain.
But then you had to look after Mary at a terrible time. But for you to have gone through what you did go through, and then have to look after Mary, and you took a lot of time out of your life for that too, as we all know, it takes time.
It took, I don't know, probably 5 years when she was not well enough to. She was bedridden for 2 or 3 years, so it was a tough time for her. And she got me out of my problems back a bunch of years prior.
Well, unfortunately, Helen, my wife, who you know, because remember you came to my home, it was not too many months ago, and you saw Helen at that time. Helen's got dementia, unfortunately, and one of the things we're doing with this memories are that we're raising money for Race Against Dementia, and 1 in 3 people are going to die from dementia, are going to have it anyway. So it's a really big challenge, and it's the biggest challenge I've ever faced in my life. And I can only think of Mary and you having gone through huge challenges that you've survived on. So let's hope we can be able to enjoy a little bit of success out of that. Well, tremendous achievements. I know Australia must be very, very proud of you. But Rod Laver, I'm really proud that I was able to do this little interview with you. And I'm as big a follower as anybody is of Rod Laver. So many thanks for joining me, and happy memories. And you've certainly provided them.
Well, Jackie, thank you for having myself being part of RAD. I'm honored to know what you're doing, and my wife had a small amount of it herself, and so you know what they're going through. Not being able to remember is such a sad story. So just being with you, Jackie, I'm proud.